Welcome to session 5 of the More Excellent Way. We have a little bit of thunder out there. Hopefully, it will not be too disturbing. I love it when nature talks. That is so awesome and so wonderful, and it reminds us of the higher power that is always omnipotent and present. Let's recap and review on session 4. And we ended by saying that Maslow has a theory. There are so many theories. In the beginning of our season on the More Excellent Way, we spoke about 5 keys of that, and the 10 points of this, and the 5 principles of that, and the 7 keys of this, and the 9 keys of that, and all those are very valid. So I'm not talking down on anybody else that has literature or books out there on principles and keys, and in certain specific environments or contexts, there are just certain keys. But when we come to life in general, I think it's far more than just a number of keys, just as life is far more on the principles that Maslow had. And we are using that simply because it's closer to the basic needs that we have in everyday life. And for us to get to a place of the more excellent way, it's a journey. It's not a place where you decide to go to today and you reach it tomorrow. It is really a journey. I've just been the last 2 days had a discussion with somebody on Facebook who did not agree with something that I said, and people naturally tend to take it very personal or attack you on a very personal level. And that just reminded me, when this happens, that there is a more excellent way. And that's exactly what these series are about. It is about the more excellent way in everyday life, whether it's life we live, home, relationships, business, belief systems, religion. It doesn't matter. We will talk about all of those in the series of the more excellent way. Let's just recap a little bit as we review our previous session where we stopped. We all can relate to some kind and sort of brokenness. Brokenness can be big and it can be small, but we can all relate. We all have a story to tell, and it's so valid. Each of us have a very valid story that we can tell, and it's so true. And your story is as sacred and as precious as mine. And I don't think, that it's fair when people say that their story might be worse than yours, because most of the time we have no idea of the depth and experience that people might go through in their life stories. So we all have a story to tell, and we need to be respectful and compassionate about the stories of people's lives. That brings us to the needs we discussed in the last session. In session 4, we spoke about the needs as per Maslow, and I simply make use of his method because it's very, very simple and close to our everyday life, where we deal with psychological needs, safety needs, belonging needs, esteem needs, and then lastly, self-actualization, which is where we are right now. Let's quickly talk about belongingness and the love needs we have. There's a wonderful series available. I cannot remember right now the author, but it's called The 5 Love Languages, which I really enjoyed, and you might as well get it. It is really a wonderful series on love languages. And I know my husband, his love language is food. I mean, that captain, he's actually supposed to fly aircrafts, but when he's home, he's the master chef. That is just something he loves to do, and his love language is coming to me and say, babe, just taste this, just taste that. So we all have needs to love and to be loved in a turn. And when psychological and safety needs are met, then belonging needs emerge. It includes the need for affection, relationships, belongingness, like to a group. That's why so many people get hurt, through the need to belong. You have to belong somewhere. And that is a very valid need. And we will discuss that in far more depth as we continue with our series at the More Excellent Way. So in our daily lives, people exhibit these needs in different ways. It comes through in a desire to marry someone, to share your life with a specific person, to have a family, to be part of a community, a church, a fraternity, even members of a gang. In Cape Town, South Africa, where we're from, there are gangs, especially in Cape Town, very, very well known for the gangs that operate there. And um, in the years gone by, we have spoken to a lot of these people who are in these gangs and even some gang leaders. I had the privilege to teach leadership skills in a Maximum A Pollsmoor prison in Cape Town, and I just looked at the pictures today and my heart was like, oh, I wonder how these people are and how they're doing. But even there, within the walls of prison, people need to belong, and they have formed their own little communities. So it's a very, very dominant need to belong. And if we don't understand our need, and if we don't find the appropriate fit for our needs, that's when people get in trouble. Because it's a void. It's in psychology, we speak about the hand with hold. It's a dark hole, and they need to fill that hole. And through this series of The More Excellent Way, I really want us to fill that hole. People wants to be a member of something. That's why also people take part in a career. You know, they look for a career, and we are going to discuss that in much deeper levels later on in our series, when we are going to talk about business, and we're going to tear it apart from entrepreneurship to where you are a very successful businesswoman, where you might even own a yacht. So we will be talking about all of this in the coming series. But it is at this level that the support and the social structure of modern society just become insufficient to fulfill a person's need. The need to belong, to love, and to be loved in return. Some people know how to love, but they do not experience that love in return. And a modern society shows its fragmentations in the breakdown of traditional groups. Increased mobility has left many people feeling a total disconnection, a total unfulfillment. And I think that is probably the key, which is abused by the destroyers of this world. That's the key. They pretty much put the needle into the pain and the hurt of the need to belong somewhere. And that is so many times abused. And we will talk a lot more about that. This is why there's an importance of neighborhoods and families to an individual's well-being. And this is sometimes overlooked. I mean, even people who are living outside under bridges, they form little communities. In South Africa, we've worked with a lot of people that just out there, they're homeless. They live under bridges, in water pipes, and even right there, they have their small little communities. We worked with the street women, the women on the streets out there, and even there, they have their small communities, and it's a really very strong need. Moreover, there is no indication, as per my experience, that this fragmentation is going to slow down. And someone like Maslow, he cited these unmet needs as being the primary cause for mental disorders. And he commented something that I picked up when I looked at some of his theories and I studied different models and different theories. He said, we have largely forgotten our deep tendencies to herd, to flock, to join, to belong. This need reveals why consumers choose to be part of brands that offer them connection and belonging, and to do not want to be outside. So I don't want to do advertising for people here, but we all know what a brand is. Any kind of brand, whether it be food or clothing or even a certain kind of vehicle or house or whatever that branding might be. We all know what that is. I've traveled the world, and I have, for the last 22 years, seen many countries, many different cultures, people. And you know what? This deep-rooted longing and need to belong has been affected over the last years everywhere in the world, not only in South Africa, where I'm from, or in America, or wherever you might be coming from, or from wherever you might listen. I want to quickly hop across and talk to you about esteem needs, because this is as important as the belonging need. And Maslow divided the next level in the hierarchy into two categories. First one is the need to find our esteem from others. And I personally refer to them in my speaking as external motivators, those things that you need from the outside to motivate you, to make you feel good, to make you feel important, to make you feel wanted. The need for esteem from others is met externally, and it includes the desire for status and dominance. This is a very, very dangerous need. And we are going to talk a lot about this as we move forward. Because if you can overcome this need and control this need, your life will change forever. My goodness, this is a tough one, right? What people will do for acknowledgement and self-actualization. It's just gone out of proportion towards power and the I, the me and myself. It's always about how I feel and me, and it's really reached dangerous heights of danger to where this need has taken people in where we are today in the world. Now, a very strange phenomena. I was involved, and I've been involved in leadership design and empowerment for many years on different levels in spiritual development, in corporate development, and I'm still wondering today, what if everybody has become a leader? Who's going to follow? If everybody has become a leader, because we want just everybody to be leaders, outright leadership advancement. I mean, I have been to and been involved with so many different leadership advancements organizations that I can't even remember the names, and I cannot call them on my fingers. All 10 of them. There's a lot out there. And it's a good thing. It's a great thing. It's a wonderful thing. But the question remains, if everybody has become a leader, who's going to follow? What is happening to following? Shouldn't there be followers also? Or should everyone be a leader? Who's going to follow, right? Who's going to follow? Everybody's leaders. Everybody's becoming leaders. Every second organization, they are developing leaders. Who's going to follow? If every individual is a leader and everybody make the decision according to their frame of reference, we have a whole world of leaders and absolutely no followers. To me, that sounds a bit chaotic. Even I, whom have experienced so much and have been around the world, I have a mentor, and I only have not only one mentor, I have a few mentors. I have a few people who are mentoring me and who are counseling me, because I know that I can never arrive. I can never know it all. I'm a grandmother. I have grandchildren. I'm moving very close to the 60s. And I'm like, I have not, you know what scares me the most? It's not what I know. It's what I think I know and I might not know. That scares me. And for today's session, the last I want to speak about, and I don't want to keep our sessions longer than 15 and 20 minutes. So the last session for today is the need for self-esteem. while the need for self-esteem is met internally and includes the want of independence and mastery. Our previous need was external. This one is internal. And the healthiest way to satisfy esteem needs is actually to have a balance between both internal and external esteem needs. But that comes from a person's authentic nature, how you grow up, where you grew up, how the family was, how the community was, how the school experience went down, and a lot of all of those factors. But it would be wonderful if we had a globe full of people who had a proper, authentic nature with a balance between their internal and external needs being satisfied. Unfortunately, it is not the case. This is very important. If this process is complete and natural, any respect gained would be merited rather than derived from the presentation of a false self. And here we all have a lot to think about. It would be an honorable journey of development if we earn a healthy self-esteem based on a set of values and principles. Right now, the world needs a lot of this. And I'm going to end session 5 by asking you to think about this. In the next session, we will continue. And as I mentioned to you in the basic beginning of where we're heading with the more excellent way, I am working on the very, very basics of every human being. And if the basics is not for you, then wait until we get to the less basic stuff as we move forward. But for now, the world is in dire need of people who develop and earn a healthy self-esteem based on a set of values and principles, who derives from a healthy balance between internal and external needs that are met. So I want to close the session today, and I want you to think about where you are today. What is it going to take for you to get to a place of self-actualization with a healthy self-esteem, not depending on other people to determine your identity, but to be able to grasp that intrinsic value that you have? And if you don't have it, this is the place to stay at the More Excellent Way. See you there.